Welcome to SVGTV News for Thursday, May the 14th, 2020. I am Bhavanal there with the details. With the cancellation of Vinci Mass this year, there will be no holiday on July the 6th and 7th, which were the dates set aside for Carnival Monday and Tuesday celebrations by the Carnival Development Corporation. This was announced on radio today by Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves. The Prime Minister said Cabinet took the decision on Wednesday to designate August 3rd and 4th holidays, which will come on the heels of Emancipation Day celebrations.
If August 1st was on Sunday, well, the Monday would have been the holiday.
Right.
But because it's Saturday, it falls on. So there'll be Saturday, Sunday. Then we'll have 2 days there. Monday and Tuesday. In fact, the
Prime Minister said that a proclamation to change the days will be made, as he will advise the Governor General on this decision. He explained the law which allows for holidays to be changed but not deleted.
And Carnival Tuesday is the day that follows that CARICOM day. And sometimes the CDC may set a date, but that doesn't mean that that's inside of the law. But the 6th is not the first Monday. Sorry, not the second Monday, because it says the law says the second Monday. So we'll have to do a proclamation in any case to make sure. So you can substitute now. But I think all things considered, and when students with their exams and so on, and by then, hopefully people might want a nice little release from the COVID pressures now.
Despite the position of the SVG Teachers Union that schools should not be reopened anytime soon given the threat of COVID-19, the Ministry of Education says schools will be reopened on May the 25th, 2020 for all students, writing external examinations. A release from the ministry noted that the school day will commence at 9:30 a.m. and conclude at 2:30 p.m. and that online teaching continues for all other students. The ministry said it is collaborating with the Ministry of Transport and Works to assist students commuting to and from schools daily and reminded persons of their obligation to maintain a clean and safe environment for all. And on radio today, Prime Minister Gonsalves appealed to teachers and parents to cooperate with the Ministry of Education, noting that failing to do so will be an error on their part.
I'm urging all parents and teachers to respond favorably to the way this is being done. I know some parents, I heard some persons say some parents are not sending the children to school. Well, that would be an error. You see what is happening? Though we are doing a fair amount of online work, the online programs show the divide, the cleavage in the society. We see that all across the board, in the US, in Britain, in Barbados, in Trinidad, in Jamaica. Persons from poor families who may not have the laptop or indeed the tablets.
The PM added that provisions are being made for students who are at a disadvantage by e-learning, whether it is because of a lack of device or electricity.
The names, ask the Ministry of Education to give me some names, and I send them to Finlec and ask them to assistant numbers and the like.
Yes.
Children name, parents name, their telephone numbers, location. And any other person who listening and they have that, they can send them the email by me is pmosvg@vincysert.com. I have a system here. We'll get them to see how we can move in the most expeditious way. I got a report, we're buying 30,000.
One Caribbean, a Vincentian charter airline, has offered to assist with the repatriation of students from Jamaica. On radio today, Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves said the information remains fluid, and so far 30 students have indicated an interest to travel home with One Caribbean.
One Caribbean is coming in a few days' time. It's going in a few days' time to get the first 30 or so students. It's cheaper than Liat. And there's some parents who are working with One Caribbean and working with the students there and also with our honor council, Pambaba.
Reservation manager with One Caribbean, Sherrian Graves, told SVG-TV News that they are working with all relevant stakeholders and are waiting approvals to bring the first batch of students home.
As a locally owned Vincentian company, we are trying our best to make sure that our nationals are home, whereas it's a little difficult now to travel because of the pandemic. It's a difficult one because of the number of students, but we're also not doing it for Vincentians only. It's also Dominicans and Bajans. And there's some first year and some final year students in that contingent as well. But we are working with all the stakeholders from each country and here for all permissions.
Graves added that One Caribbean is following all the health protocols which are required. She noted that parents have been calling the airline eagerly awaiting the return of their loved ones.
Well, they are anxious. I mean, as a parent, you won't want your child to be out there. You would want that child under your arms in your care. So they are very anxious and they are very, very needy. They need their kids to be home. So that's what we are trying to do. We're not looking for any kind of publicity. We just want to bring our nationals home because we are a family-based company. We believe in family and we believe in love. We're One Caribbean.
One Caribbean was also the airline used to bring home 22 Vincentian workers from the British Virgin Islands. And 2 Grenadians are in quarantine here along with 8 other Vincentian sailors who arrived in the state yesterday on the cruise ship Carnival Freedom. Prime Minister Gonzalez said that due to the port in Grenada still being closed, the government of SVG decided that there is no harm in accepting the stranded Grenadians and afforded them all rights as a Vincentian. He said the Grenadian Prime Minister Dr. Keith Mitchell has since been informed.
We received the Grenadians and I wrote Prime Minister Keith Mitchell about that. They're in quarantine too. We treat them just like Vincentians. And they're quarantined. They're put in the quarantine isolation area. All 10 of them at the expense of Carnival Cruise Line.
Prime Minister Gonzalez said a 3rd batch of sailors is expected home next week, Wednesday, May the 20th, 2020. He said they have dealt with most of the cruise lines on the repatriation of sailors. However, the only cruise line they are facing some difficulties with is Norwegian Cruise Line.
In getting a position is from the Norwegian Cruise Line. So I've received 1 or 2 text messages. I just got one yesterday and I responded to the person and asking them to help to get me all the data now, as much as is available to those on that particular ship.
Minister of Tourism, Sports and Culture Cecil Sess-McKee said all of the operations of his ministry came to a complete standstill because of the COVID-19 pandemic. But once given the all-clear from the Ministry of Health, they will be ready to do business again. Minister McKee was at the time speaking on the ULP Speaks radio program last evening.
Direct private investment. That also is going to be very important. So we have to continue to spruce up the destination so persons can see benefit when they come into St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So that direct foreign investment is going to be very, very important. Tourism sector leading the way where that is concerned, and we've done well when we stack up against the region, Latin America and the Caribbean. Foreign direct investment has been very good for St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and tourism will continue to lead in that regard. Yes. And I outlined tonight through the stimulus and recovery packages what we have been able to offer for the
Minister McKee said that some of the workers in the tourism and hospitality sector, including taxi drivers and tour bus operators, received their income support payment today. He also noted that over 800 persons in the tourism sector who were laid off because of the COVID-19 situation are registered to receive a payment of $300, and application forms for persons in the cultural sector will be soon available.
And basically we had over 800, just over 800 of them registered to receive those payments. So those payments are going on. Hopefully next week we'll move on to the next tier of persons in the cultural field. So we are just finalizing all of the data for the persons who are involved in culture and the arts. There's an application form at the ministry. You come in and you do your submission. So hopefully we'll be able to tackle those next week. We also had the Carnival Development Corporation. They engage all three components. They engage all three components of music, pan, and mass, finalizing those details, and an amount has been allocated for CDC to work along with.
Liat said it is extending the suspension of his passenger service to May 31st, 2020, given the current border closure and travel restrictions within the regional network. Chief Executive Officer Julie Reefer Jones explained that the airline continues to monitor the efforts to contain COVID-19 pandemic, and the further extension is necessary at this time. She said while there are ongoing discussions about the reopening of borders, no firm date has been set to facilitate regional travel as yet, noting that this essentially meant that passengers were unable to travel across the Liat network. The airline CEO said passengers booked during the extended period of suspension will automatically have their bookings cancelled and will receive full credit for future travel, and will be able to rebook as soon as the airline announces resumption of passenger services. Reefer Jones reassured the public that the airline was putting plans in place to resume operations as soon as the all-cleared timeline by territories for the reopening of their borders. The CEO also advised that the airline has in place strict cleaning protocols for its aircraft to ensure the health and safety of its passengers and staff. The airline acknowledged that this was an extremely difficult time for its employees and other stakeholders across the region. While Liat is operating with a skeleton staff, the CEO noted that the airline continues to offer charter and cargo services. The SVG Police Force says members of the traffic branch will be conducting an operation tomorrow, Friday, May 15th, 2020, to ensure the safety of all passengers and to curb the issue of overloading on board omnibuses. Head of the Traffic Department, Superintendent Kenneth John, said the operation is paramount to efficiently combat the issues associated with the public service transportation recommendations according to the COVID-19 protocols and guidelines stipulated by the Ministry of Health, Wellness and the Environment. The Traffic Department is seeking the compliance of the general public in this matter. And motorists will be paying $1 less for gasoline and diesel at the pumps from tomorrow. A notice from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Trade said Cabinet granted the approval for the changes to be made to the prices of gasoline, diesel and low sulfur diesel. According to the wholesale price for gasoline will move from $10.71 per gallon to $9.71, while the retail price will move from $11.41 to $10.47. In relation to diesel, the wholesale price of $9.64 per gallon will be reduced to $8.64, while the retail price will move from $10.30 to $9.30 per gallon. Low sulfur diesel wholesale price will be moved from $9.63 to $8.63 per gallon, with the retail price moving from $10.29 to $9.29 per gallon. And slain police officer Sergeant Philbert Chambers, who was shot and killed while in the line of duty on Sunday, April the 26th, will be afforded a full military funeral. The funeral will take place this Sunday, May the 17th, 2020 at the Barley Recreational Park, according to the Seventh-day Adventist rites. Viewing of the body will commence at 12 p.m. to be followed by the funeral service at 2. The interment will take place at the Glebe Hill Cemetery. A release from the RSVG Police Force Public Relations Department said due to the COVID-19 global pandemic, the protocols to be adopted There will be certain restrictions during the funeral service and procession to the ceremony. As such, only a limited number of persons will be accommodated at the recreational park, which will comprise of the immediate family members of the deceased, the Commissioner of Police, and other ranks of the RSVG Police Force. A representative from the Ministry of National Security, specially invited guests, and members of the media, the same would be in effect for the interment ceremony. Persons attending the funeral service are strongly advised to adhere to the physical distancing guidelines by staying at least 3 to 6 feet apart at all times and wear a face mask. There will be traffic diversion in the area to accommodate the funeral. The police say traffic coming from Kingston into Barley will turn right at the first gap at the Glebe Hill, then turn left into 3 acres, making a right turn over the bridge at the reversion, drive across the old secondary school and exit at the high road. Traffic from the North Leeward into Kingston will drive the normal route. However, when the funeral procession is on the main road, traffic will wait and drive slowly behind the procession until it reaches the cemetery. Traffic will thereafter proceed to the Kingston the usual way.